Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Congresswoman. My name is Jeremy Moss. I'm the state representative here in Southfield. And I really do want to thank the DEQ for holding this public hearing to discuss the impact of this permit application for exploratory drilling. This is not part of the protocol for these permit applications. This was a request that I asked of the DEQ to hold this meeting because I wanted them to hear the same responses from residents that I was hearing in my office, and I wanted them to really get a taste of the local input on this particular issue. And I appreciate the DEQ for being here in Southfield and granting that request. I myself am a lifelong resident of this community. I've been an elected official in this community since I served on city council prior to my current role in 2011. And I know that the DEQ will find this a positive and beneficial meeting for their department because all Southfielders on both sides of this issue, either for this permit or against this permit, have done their research to the best of their ability to form an educated decision on this issue. I've held 2 town halls on this issue in a broad sense, talking about drilling, and we've heard from residents on both sides of that issue at my town halls, and I know that the DEQ will experience that same decorum that took place at those town halls here tonight. I play a unique role here as a state official who also previously served on the city council in Southfield. I am currently the minority vice chair, the top-ranking Democratic official on the House Local Government Committee. And during my tenure on the city council, we passed countless ordinances on the city level to provide stricter zoning, inspection, setback, and operation regulations that may be permissible or not even addressed on the state level. That's how local units of government operate in this state. When I first arrived on city council, we had a newly enacted ordinance that implemented further city regulations for approval for in-home daycare. The state had its own series of regulations, but it allows for stricter local ordinances that we adopted. In 2012, we adopted an ordinance to limit the zoning for alternative financial services like fast check cashing places or pawn shops in Southfield. Those activities are permissible under state law, but they're now subjected here in Southfield to local zoning regulations. And in 2014, we adopted an ordinance to limit the zoning of hookah bars in Southfield, establishments that are permissible under state law, but are now subjected to a local zoning regulation. And at the end of 2014, one of the last votes I took on city council was to support the city's restricted zoning and regulation of marijuana dispensaries, a service that is enshrined in our Constitution since 2008, but the Supreme Court allowed for local control. This is why I strongly believe that the DEQ's rules and regulations with regards to oil and gas drilling permits are inconsistent and contradict our city's ability to implement our lawful moratorium and future zoning regulations. We are not a community under state management. We govern ourselves here in Southfield. The reason that this moratorium exists here is because this type of activity has specific implications in a densely populated city such as ours that doesn't exist in sparsely populated areas where other oil and drilling exploration takes place. The proposed location at 9 Mile and Evergreen is possibly the most densely populated area ever considered for drilling in Michigan. In fact, according to Data Driven Detroit, the exact center of the population center of Metro Detroit runs right here in Southfield. It has implications beyond our city borders. The density of this area only amplifies most of the problems related to drilling, such as spills, emissions release, groundwater contamination, transport accidents, and others. And that's why I believe that drilling in a populated community such as ours violates the guiding principle of the DEQ, which is to promote, quote, wise management of Michigan's air, land, and water resources to support a sustainable environment, healthy communities, and a vibrant economy. We want to know how this permit exemplifies any of these guiding principles. The risk of this permit, I believe, is too great for the people and the resources in the city of Southfield. The process itself violates our city's ability to enact lawful zoning regulations. Instead of focusing on maximum oil production, I hope today we focus on maximum people protection. And I object to the issuance of this permit. Thank you very much for your attention, and I welcome everybody to the city of Southfield.